I trained in Kenya for 6 weeks, and here's what I learned about how the Kenyans train and other observations that I made. So I went on training camp there, more specifically at 10, and you have the best of the best there. On Tuesdays, to go down to the track, and Eli Kipchoge would be in lane 1 with Faith Kipyegon. I'd then go to the gym in the evening, and Stephen Hassan would be there as well. So firstly, why did I go there? Why did I go all that way, spend all that money to go and train specifically in Kenya, and why did I not just do it around here? Well, number one is that it's at altitude. But why do you want to go and train at altitude? Is it not harder? And the answer is yes, it is much harder. But the reason for that is, in very, very, very simple terms, is that because it's so high up, there's less oxygen up there, which means your body has a harder time transporting oxygen around the body. And to combat this, it will create more red blood cells. And the plan, touch wood, is that when you come back down to sea level, you have all those extra red blood cells, and then you have all that extra oxygen as well. So you come back down, your body's better at transporting oxygen, and then hopefully a given pace, target race pace, just feels a little bit easier. Secondly, it is the supposed home of champions. Like I say, you've got all the top guys down there. It's been home of some elite Kenyan guys. Loads of people like Mo Farah, Paul Radcliffe have always gone there to train as well. So I just wanted to go and experience it, see if there's any methods that the Kenyans do that I could replicate in my own training. But yeah, like I say, just soak it all in. I'm currently preparing for the London Marathon as well, so it was the perfect time to get a decent training camp in. It is definitely one of the best places to train in the world. The accommodation I stayed at literally does everything for you. You get your food, washing, snacks, everything you need. All you need to do is wake up and just go and train. It keeps it all so simple. And the best thing about a 10 as well is that there's so many runners there. There's always someone running at the same pace of you. It is literally filled with runners of all paces. And the best thing as well that I found is that when you meet people out there, they're going to be in the same mindset to you. They might be way faster than you, and they might be targeting a different race, but you've all paid to be there, and you've all obviously got that level of enjoyment you get from running. So you're all in a pretty similar mindset of that, and you kind of bound to get on in that way. And yeah, fine, the goal might be different, but you're all working towards a set target, and you're just all in that similar mindset, which I loved, and it makes training infinitely easier. I've also just realised that I've been staring at the screen the whole time, I think, but not the actual camera, so I should be looking here, not there, but I can see himself there. I've just bought this camera, so apologies if there's any technical issues, which I'm sure there are of some of my technological capabilities. Anyway, on to the important stuff. I also did a total cost breakdown of the whole trip over on my Instagram and TikTok. I'll put a link below. I think the whole thing cost me just under £3,000, which sounds like a lot, but for 6 weeks with literally everything, including flights and the experience as well, I'd like to say massively recommend it. I think it was quality, and I was pretty happy with the total cost. You can do it very, very cheaply, and you can do it much cheaper than that. But yeah, I'll leave a link to that below if you want to go and check it out. Right, let's get into it. So how did the Kenyans train, and what were my observations? Number one is that everything is kept very, very simple, whether that's food, sessions, training, whatever it may be. They run hard, they run easy, they run steady. Everything is done off effort there. There are no heart rate monitors in sight. There's no lactate monitors in sight. None of them are taking lactate samples on the track. It's all very, very effort based, which I think is a very, very good skill to have as well. And that's something that I try to transfer into my own training, especially when I've come back as well. You've got people like myself who turn up with data points to the eyeballs, like the heart rate monitors. There is none of that. It is so much about listening to the body. Pretty much every time I ran with a Kenyan, they would say that they're listening to the body in terms of what that run would be, whether it's an easy run, they're just not even going to check their watch at their pace. If it's a speed session, they're likely just going to run it as to what they think the best effort is on that day. I also got told that one of the elite people who trains in a 10, their coach said that they train whenever they're ready. So they wake up and they'll ask them, how do you feel? And then the day will be planned on that day. So they'll wake up and think, oh, okay, I don't feel too good. I'll just do an easy run. Or I'll wake up and think, I feel quality. We'll do a session. It won't be like, okay, this week you've got track on Tuesday, you've got a tempo on Thursday. None of that. It's done by the day, and it's done purely off effort. On Camerini track, which is literally just a dirt track, you'll see Kenyans flying around there on a Tuesday, and I love that. It's literally a dirt track, so there's no lanes or anything. It's not even 400 meters, so they're just going purely off what they feel internally. There's no real metrics they can follow. The coach sets them the session for the day, and they'll do that. And you saw them flying around, and some of them were really, really pushing it as well, which is another thing that I noticed. There was quite a big spectrum in terms of the level of effort that they gave as well. Another classic session they have there is the Boston Fartlek, which is on hills. I didn't have the bottle to do it. I said no. Knee was feeling a bit sore that day. But things like that's on such a hilly route, and I think it's 25. It's basically 1 minute on, 1 minute off times 25, and it's just 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. There's no like pace targets really, so it was just really interesting to see that and how it just keeps running such a simple sport. And it like I'm guilty of it as well. I've got all these monitors, all these data points, all these measures we can look up with our training, but some of the best are just going out there, running hard, they're running easy, they're running in between as well, and it's always internal. And I think it's, like I say, it's a really, really good skill to have. Like the dirt track isn't even 400 meters, but your body doesn't know that. It just knows effort. Like it doesn't know whether you've done a 400 meter lap or a 387 meter lap. It just knows that you've run hard, and it knows that it needs to adapt to that. And I said it before, but I think it's so useful to be able to run to effort, whether that's marathon effort, half marathon effort, 10k effort, because there's always things with external conditions that mean that a given pace or target race pace, you just can't do it, or it feels unfeasible, whether that's hills, heat, just wind, stuff like that, just always gets in the way. And I think having that skill of being able to just sack off all the metrics and just run to what you think you'll feel on a day is so useful to have. On that point as well, the food is also kept very, very simple. You've got staples like rice, ugali, lentils, beans, stuff like that. Dinner would always be just a staple, some form of protein with the meat. Then you got 2 forms of carbohydrates, so that's probably rice, beans, sometimes potatoes as well, a veg dish, and then dessert would just be some fruit. So, and to be honest, I quite enjoyed that. Like it was just pretty standard healthy stuff. Over the course of a few days, like you're going to be getting your micronutrients in, your macros are always there. Granted, it was very, very carb heavy. There wasn't much choice, but the food was pretty good. I mean, I'm saying that my taste buds, they've been deprived over the past year, so that was premium stuff to be fair. But yeah, I thought the food was kept very simple, all seems to work well for most people. And yeah, it was just some good stuff. I quite enjoyed the lack of choice, weirdly. Secondly, they do very high volume, 180k to 200k weeks are pretty much just normal over there. The pace I ran with a few times was dropping 180k weeks off the bat. My barber was dropping I'm pretty sure he was doing 160k weeks, and that was low. The amount they do is just big, whether that's mileage, the actual track sessions, 15 to 20k of track volume is pretty much a minimum over there. If you are training for a marathon, I mean, the amounts that Kelvin Kipton was rumored to be doing were pretty nuts. I'll put a screenshot here. I think it was close to 280k a week, which I didn't meet anyone doing that amount of volume, but like I say, around that 200k mark is just pretty standard over there. I heard some elites were doing 30 to 32k tempos on Moyburn Road, fast as well, close to 310s, if not lower at the end. Big on doing the long run on Saturday, and then Sunday was always a rest day. Thirdly, there was a very, very big pace spectrum in terms of what I saw people running at. Obviously, when you go to the track on a Tuesday, the paces there are abhorrent. I don't even want to know how fast some of them would throw in some 800 1k reps down at, probably 230s, who knows. So you obviously know the Kenyans are running very, very fast, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, the Kenyans also do like to run very, very slow. You might have heard the term the Kenyan shuffle, which I wouldn't really class as a run. It's more just a recovery plod. A lot of them, especially after a harder session in the morning, they're not worried about doing 5 minutes per K for an easy run or recovery run at all, which that is still pretty quick. For a lot of people, that's race pace, but for them, they're doing 1k reps at 245, 240. That's close to half the speed. So, but they're not worried about that. That's another thing they come into big time in terms of just listening to the body, not an easy pace and a set pace. But yeah, on my easy runs, I'd have it both ways. I'd have Kenyans absolutely storming past me, and I can tell they're running easy. But I'd sometimes go past 1 or 2 people, and I know they're running easy as well. So, and it kind of reiterated the point that running isn't a one size fits all. An easy pace isn't a set pace. It's a feeling. For some people, they feel way more comfortable doing faster, easy runs. Some people need to, like my good self, need to do the easy runs at what they feel is a much slower pace. So it's all just a feeling, and that's one thing that I learned. It was quite nice to see not every single Kenyan flying past you on an easy run. Sometimes they are they do appear to be human and do run at similar paces to us mortals. Fourthly, recovery focuses on things that actually work and are proven to work and not fads. They love their sleep and they're big on their sleep, which is a very, very good thing. Naps are incredibly common. If you're purely training as well and you're not working, there's not actually that much else to do in a 10-bar run, so you kind of have the time on your hands where you can go and dip off for an hour nap during a day. Dinner would normally be 7 till 8, and then you chill out until about 9 with the guys, and then after that you basically just go to bed. So you're in bed by 20 past 9, and then if you're getting up at 7, you're in bed for over 9.5 hours. So that aspect was really good, and that was quality to have. That's obviously dependent on the individual and the athlete. A lot of Kenyans would be working, doing other jobs in a day, so they couldn't just dip off for a nap. But you could tell that when you spoke to them, especially my barber, he was massive on getting 9-10 hours in bed. So he might not get a nap, but he was making up for it big time in the evening. The lifestyle there is just very, very relaxed as well. So wake up, get your run done, run hard, and then chill out for the rest of the day. You might go and do an easy double, and after that, again, chill out, or just very relaxed, taking it easy, focusing on that rest and sleep. And yeah, I thought it was spot on. I mean, you have a very hard time trying to find a study that says more sleep is bad, but I'm sure you can find a study on whatever recovery protocol or fad you're thinking of using. I'm sure there'll be some form of study that says that doesn't work or it's placebo. So rest and sleep, good nutrition. Sunday was also a proper rest day. After a hard long one on the Saturday, it'd be church, chill out, no run day for them on the Sunday. And finally, just some other observations that I made whilst I was there. Now, the guys I trained with basically didn't fuel at all. When you're over there, you can get like a pacer who runs with you for the long runs on Moyburn Road or sessions if you want. And they would box off like 35, 40k runs with nothing, like a bit of water. And from speaking to them as well, that's pretty common. Like they'll do these huge long runs and just take on nothing, or they'll take on a bit of water with a bit of honey whilst on a run. Or I think you can buy glucose out there, which you can put in your water. Things like gels, drink mixes, just anything fuel-wise is pretty expensive out there. So I do think that's a bit more of a financial choice that the Kenyans, they can't afford the actual fuel. So they have to look for other ways or just not fuel, which is pretty crazy. But I just found it mad, like boxing off 35k, not fasted, but just doing nothing the whole way. It was pretty mad. So it made me think two things. A, I'm lucky I can take on the gels. Like they're not the number one thing that I want to take down, but I'm lucky I can afford them and they can help my training. And B, imagine how quick they'd run if they fueled, like if they had access to gels, drink mixes, especially some of the guys who are like in that like 208 to 212 category who don't really fuel. If they had access to all these resources, the gels, the drink mixes, like what they could do in a marathon would be pretty nuts. That place really puts your pace into perspective as well. There is so much undiscovered talent out there. You're probably walking down the street and the guys run 210. Said it before, my barber dropped like a 65-minute half. And for some of these guys, they could go so much quicker if they had access to these resources, things like the fueling and the gels. And it'd be so interesting to see how, say, like a 208, 210 guy over there, if he was put in, say, the Norwegian training camps or given their methods, like with the lactate testing and all this just data and stuff, whether they would get much quicker, would they stagnate, would they get slower? I just think that'd be really interesting to see. But there are definitely some guys out there who are a serious talent, but you just don't know that about them because the level is so high, or just they can't go to that top range because maybe financially they can't afford the gels or the drink mixes or the recovery type of stuff. That gap has hopefully been minimised as well. They've got brands like Kiprun, ASICS who have training camps out there who find these like local quality guys and then provide all their accommodation, food, stuff like that in the training camp. So things like that, brands coming over, seeing this crazy talent and giving them the resources to hopefully flourish, stuff like that is very, very good to see, and it's cool to experience that as well. And one final observation I did make is that everyone seems to be well happy there and they're just really, really content with life. Like everyone was so patient, no one showed any aggression at all regardless of what happened. It might be luck of the draw, but everyone over there just seemed like well content with life, so fair play. If they've got family, food and structure with their training, that goes a hell of a long way over there, and that's something I really rated, thought was class, and that's something I will try and bring back myself, that mindset, when I come back home. As you can probably tell, I love my time over there and I will definitely be back. I do think it's somewhere where I would only go if I was in kind of like high training for a target race or something like that, but I loved it. Everything about it, the food, the training, the people you meet is quality, and if anyone else wants to give it a go, I massively recommend it. More than happy to try and answer any questions you might have about the place itself, the accommodation, the food, the training, anything like that. So yeah, if you do have any questions, drop in the comments below and I'll get back to you. And if you got this far, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.